Hi, guys. So excited to have you guys on. Um, so, for everybody who doesn't know, we're kind of doing an expert interview with the numbers. This is the stuff that we all have a really hard time with, I think. I've got Stefanie. She is my bookkeeper. I love having her. She's on Instagram at She Does Your Books. We've worked together for a while now. She really helped me clean up kind of a mess I had from a previous accountant. So I really, really appreciate her skill as a bookkeeper. Stefanie, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and how you got started and your background?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Well, my very first entrance into the world after high school was actually in the beauty industry. But at that time, I had no knowledge of like how to run a business, market myself, any of that stuff. Ended up going back to school later in life for a degree in accounting, which was like a total like shift. And turns out I was really good at it. And I actually kind of liked it, which I was surprised to find out. And I started doing bookkeeping when I was going to get my degree. And so I've been doing this for at least 10 years. And after school, I worked for a big accounting firm for 6 years, doing everything they put me on, and eventually found my way into doing my own business, doing it the way that I want to do it, the way that works for me, using my special skill, which, yeah, it's definitely lots of technical. Um, experience, but I really care about the people I work with, and it means a lot to me to be able to have relationships with my clients, and having my own business allows me to do that. And I'm also work with female creatives, and it's just the best. I love all of them.
That's my favorite part because I feel like you were so patient with me and
Mhm.
understanding when I had like used the wrong bank account for something or had like an account where I'm like, well, this account is just an account for everything. And I know it. So it was
Everyone.
super helpful whenever you weren't mad at me whenever I was doing things all wrong. So, it was a big deal for helping me get all my books cleaned up, and now I think we're kind of on a roll. I still mess up,
Yeah.
but we're doing better. It feels better. So,
Yeah.
and I also have Haylie with me. Haley's an accountant, so she's gonna be able to give us, the professional advice that I try to give you examples of what I do, but I can't advise you as an accountant. So I'm super excited to have Haylie here to really tell us what we should and shouldn't be doing, like what business entities and some of the stuff that's really, really important when you're getting started. So, Haylie, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love sharing my knowledge about finances because I think people find it really scary. And so anything I can explain and make it relatable and understandable, that's my goal. I want you to focus on your business, and then I can help you with the back end with Stephanie, of course. But I'm Haley. I'm a CPA, and I own an accounting firm located in Round Rock, Texas. We focus mostly on tax and tax compliance and more high level tax planning. We do a little bit of bookkeeping, but not as much. So I'm here to answer the tough questions and keep you compliant, save you money, but hopefully make it a little bit easier for you.
Perfect. I love that. And I also love that we're all female entrepreneurs and
Me
that
too.
we're, I like something about that feels special that instead of, I mean, it's, you can go out and find a big tax firm to work with or an online bookkeeper or whatever, but there's something about having female entrepreneurs that, you're like going through the same struggles and can work together. So I love that. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's get to some questions. These are questions I had. And I've kind of worked through it in my own business, but I think it would really help, some of our stylists to hear it, and I'll let you guys kinda just jump in, whichever of you can answer it best. There's a little bit of bookkeeping, there's a little bit of accounting, so, 1, what are the benefits and considerations of setting up business entity like an LLC, sole proprietorship, S corp for hairstylists who are opening their own small business?
Yeah. So the sole proprietorship, that's kind of like step one. If you are making money and you're not working for an employer, you're just automatically a sole proprietor, right, Haley? So
Exactly.
don't correct me if I ever say wrong here, because you are the CPA. I don't want to say the wrong thing. And it's really a good place to start, especially if you're not really certain about what you're doing. If you're just like trying something out, like that's the best way to go at it. Um, And when you're ready to level up and really make a business of it, definitely recommend doing an LLC, which is it's an entity set up with the state and it distinguishes you and your business as two separate entities. And I'm not a lawyer, so like no legal advice here, but it really gives a legal liability protection for you and your business that you're separate. Healy, do you have anything to add on those?
That's right on point. That's exactly right. And I like an LLC because you can start marketing yourself a little bit different. You can use that name, but it's easy because the last thing you want to be doing is worrying about the compliance piece. So I
Sure.
agree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what I tell them was kind of their first step. Once they actually take on like once they start renting a space, I think it's kind of important to have that LLC.
Mhm.
Um, and while we're on this subject, do you know the simplest way to get an LLC? Do you recommend going in person, mailing in the paperwork, or doing just like an online form on that? I believe it's the Secretary of State website, correct?
Mhm.
Taxes.
Yeah, it's a pretty short form, and I mean, for me and Hallie, it's pretty simple to do. We've done it lots of times. You could probably do it yourself, but usually I would go to someone who has some more experience to
Oh,
do it. And it's a really quick and painless process. I think it's a $300 fee that you pay to the state, and then if you
right.
have to pay for someone to do it, like it's really easy to get into doing, and like the requirements of it, it's like a piece of cake. So,
Perfect. So either
mhm,
kind of if you want to work your way through it, there are ways to figure out like Secretary of State, starting your LLC, but very simply have your bookkeeper or somebody you're working with do it for you is probably the best advice. Cause I don't like the
mhm.
services like LegalZoom or
Oh
third
my gosh,
party
don't even
services where it's like $800 and then they're like the power of attorney over your LLC. So, uh,
yeah,
I
they
would
are.
suggest dodging those, but I didn't know if that was
Mhm.
actually good advice or if I just had a bad experience.
I don't really like LegalZoom for a few reasons. The main one of the main ones being that they put themselves at the as the registered agent. So a lot of the
Yes.
documents that you want to be getting yourself, it goes to them. And for my most of my clients that have used them, like they're like, oh, I don't know where those things
Yep.
are. They never see them and they don't know how to get them.
That's what happened to me, and then they wouldn't let me have my LLC back because 'cause they're like, "Well, you're not the registered agent." I'm like,
When we need
"I don't know what my full name is. Can I be?" So, okay,
yeah.
cool. Okay, that's kinda what I thought. Okay, so, next, I'm gonna kinda move on to bank accounts,
Mhm.
and I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask. Should hairstylists opening their own business have a separate business banking account, and what are the advantages of doing so?
Yeah, we know the answer is yes. I mean,
You should.
unless if you want to like spend a lot more of your time sifting through all of your personal and business bank accounts and credit cards and like pay someone double to help you out with it, I would just keep it all separate. I mean, it's already like a pretty annoying task to have to do your as a business owner. So like why double your workload? It's really best just to get like the good habit going from the get-go. Even if you just have a sole proprietor, you could just have a separate personal checking account, but you have to keep those separate.
Mhm.
And it really helps you too to not miss out on any, like, tax benefits. Because if you're paying for stuff for expenses on your personal account, and you don't think about it, and you don't think to tell your bookkeeper, then you're gonna miss out on that tax saving.
How often do we do that? A lot. And you
All of
have to do a lot. You're like, "Well, what was this?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, now
Yeah,
I remember. I know."
everyone. Yeah, it's an easy habit to, not be in, you know?
And
So
on that bank account, you can
mhm,
open as a sole proprietor. Even if you haven't gotten your
mhm,
LLC yet, you can just still have a business
totally.
account. Just tell them you want to open it as a sole proprietorship, and then maybe later have it as an LLC. But whatever you have, your LLC, however you're doing your business, that's how you want to open your bank account, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And now let's talk about expenses and
Mhm.
money going into the account. So when we get that business bank account, what are we doing? Like if somebody's opening their business and they've just rented space and they've got to buy all the supplies for that space and they're about to start taking money via Square, what do we use that account for?
Yeah, use it for all the business stuff. So, there are some obvious expenses, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, of course that's business." You know, I'm buying, like, the supplies in the back barn, like, treats for my clients and, promo stuff. like, that's an easy thing to think about. I think some things that people maybe don't realize they can pay for out of the business and that they're real business expenses is health insurance. When you're a small
Right.
business owner, that's a tax deduction you can take for your business. So, I suggest my clients pay for their health insurance with a
Nice.
business checking account.
Okay. And even
Um,
like cell phone, right? If you're using your cell
yeah.
phone like mostly for business and you're taking client texts and I mean, that's it. Even
Mhm.
working out of a home office. And
Yeah.
it's a little
Really,
complicated, but these are things that you can ask about writing off, right?
there. Haley, I'll let you touch on like the home office. That's a good point because I think there's a lot of like misunderstandings of like mm, what you can call a home office and like what mileage like expenses you can use whether you have a home office or not. So I definitely want to make sure we help educate people on it a little bit.
Yeah. So a home office is a dedicated place at your home that you are doing your principal place of business work. So I say you're paying your bills, you're setting up your square, you're making appointments there. Dedicated doesn't need to be a room with a door, but it doesn't need to be your dining room table that you eat
Okay.
sometimes at and you put
Or
your
not
little
my
tea
bed.
no, no. It has to be dedicated. And for me, when my clients ask, well, should I make my electric bill? Should I pay it through my business? Should I use my gas? I say no. I think annually we'll work through those expenses and create a report that we can give the tax preparer. We don't need that for our monthly bookkeeping, but that is a tax deduction. And I would like to clarify that just because something is paid outside of that business account doesn't mean it's not available for a tax deduction. Like a cell phone, for example. I know, let's say you have multiple people on your cell phone plan. So
Oh
it makes
yeah.
sense to run that through your business. We could take your portion out and do that as a year-end adjustment, for example.
Oh, very nice. So if you and that goes for anything, like, let's
Mhm.
say you've been running something through your personal account and you all of a sudden realize like, "Oh my gosh, this is a business expense." You can still find that and write it off. It doesn't mean that you messed up
Exactly.
and it's too late,
Yeah.
And it's
right?
not too late. And a good example is even like a Spotify subscription. I feel like a lot of people miss that one.
Right?
Especially if
Good
you're
one.
playing music in your studio on your speaker, that's business.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And the speaker that you're playing it on
Yeah.
is business.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And then earned income. So most of the stylists receive income via Square. I know occasionally they'll do a Venmo transaction. I usually advise not to do too many of those just because it's a little more
Mhm.
complicated. But all earned income goes directly into that same business account where we're writing our expenses out.
Cash included. Have to throw that in there. Cash is
Yeah.
still earned income. Yeah.
Right, right, right. And they look for that too, right? Like if you
Yep.
can see the cash, yeah, that makes sense. Um, let's see. Uh, do you have any tips on tracking income effectively? Like helping stylists to know how much they have coming in? Like if they want to
Mhm.
their month and say, "Oh my gosh, after expenses I made $10,000 this month," or whatever that might look like. Do you have
Mhm.
software you recommend? I mean, some of the stylists might not be quite ready for a bookkeeper. Hopefully they are
Yeah.
because it's helped me tremendously, but while
Mhm.
they're waiting for that, what are ways that you can have a grasp on how your business is doing and where do you track all of
Yeah. There's lots of different ways. It depends on what you're all really trying to see. If you use like Square, for instance, their point of service, you can go and look at reports on there that can show you how your revenue has been trending over this month and like whatever period you're looking at, which is really nice to see. And it'll even break out like your service versus tip income. So
Nice.
that's that's it's really just like part of the picture. It's like what did you bring in? 'Cause then you need to think about, well, what did I spend my money on, at the same time. I don't think I haven't seen that Square allows you to do that, but I think there are some more, like, beauty industry friendly softwares out there. Like,
It's
Haylie knew of one called Boss Genius, and I think I've
yeah,
heard someone else talk about it, but I don't have any
heard of that.
experience with it. But there's definitely options out there where it's kind of like a hybrid, of, POS and accounting.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe we'll look some of those up and link up
Yeah.
this video if we find some that we recommend.
Yeah, but, like, a lot of business owners, they'll just use a spreadsheet, like
Sure.
Excel and Google Sheets, just take out your bank data and, like, tag everything and then tally it all up, and then you know.
Okay.
I use QuickBooks Online, I don't really recommend it if you don't know what you're doing.
I
Just
can't
know your brother.
figure it out for the life of me, and I have tried so many times. I'm not saying people shouldn't use QuickBooks. I'm saying if you're not number friendly or
Mhm.
technology friendly, it is a little bit tough. I think a spreadsheet was my easiest way,
Yeah.
when I had fewer expenses to track before I needed a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
That might be something that I create, and I might have you just take a peek at it,
Oh,
Stephanie.
yeah.
Um,
Totally.
help me make it perfect, and maybe we can put it in our templates, on
Yeah.
this course so that we
Mhm.
kind of have a
Mhm.
spreadsheet template.
Yeah.
Um, oh,
That's a great idea.
yeah, have a spreadsheet template for people to use, as a basic, and then as they get a little bit better, they can, a add stuff to it or make their
Yeah.
own. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Definitely.
And
Have it
how easy is that when all your spending is in one bank account, right? All you really have
Yeah.
to
Look at
look at your
that.
transactions, you know?
Yeah, it's always gonna be when it's just in one spot.
Yeah, I love that. Um, are there any important financial considerations or best practices hairstylists should be aware of when it comes to managing their business finances?
Yeah.
I mean, just things that maybe we don't always know, but we should know.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's important to think about what you do with the money that comes in. Like I just said, I think a little bit ago, like it's really good to know what money you're bringing in and like how it's like trended over like the season or the month or whatever. But there's also something that you need to think about with like where what do you need to do with that money? Um, what like from like a cash management
Yeah.
perspective. And I'll let Haley touch on that with a method that she likes to use. But something a lot of business owners don't realize they need to do, or the like, how do I do it? Is paying the estimated taxes,
Yeah.
which it's not even fun. So like I like cringe to even bring it up. But I just want to save everyone like the heartache of having to pay a giant sum of money at the end of the year. You like going back to Square, I think they have it where you can set up that they automatically like withhold a certain percentage.
That's
So like you're already like saving the money and then you just like relinquish it to the government like um every quarter, like on their different deadlines. And it just makes it easier, set up like auto withdrawals into like a high interest savings account, bring your business checking so that it's just there and it's ready to go and you don't really have to think
yeah,
about it.
and you're not scared. There's nothing
Yeah.
scary if you're already putting money away. Like tax time doesn't have to be scary. You just
Yeah.
have to plan for it. Okay, Haley,
Yeah.
I'll let you tell us your method.
Well, I have to make a lot of those phone calls. When I call you in March, you owe $40,000. What do you think? You had a great year. It's a terrible conversation. So, something that Stephanie said that some of her clients do, which I couldn't be more happy with, is from all the money that you collect from Square, for example, why don't you go ahead and put 20% of that into a separate account that you don't even look at? That is not your money, that is the government's money. And then when quarterly tax payment time comes around, you're just going to make a payment out of that account. And let's say you oversave, awesome, you get a bonus. Tax time.
Want to change
I love that.
Alright. Well, what
That
I
just
would
makes
tell independent contractors is that money, like if you were working for somebody before, that was already coming back. You never even saw that money. The only difference is we see it, so it feels a little bit more painful. I think when it
Mhm.
comes out before, it's like, here's your check. Everything's already been taken out, and you're like, okay, it is what it is. This way, we
Yeah.
just have to see it and give it away, so it feels a little bit more painful. But I love that. I love that Square has the option to pull it out. How easy is that?
Mhm.
And you don't see it, and it doesn't feel like a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once let's say we're getting on our cadence, I think year 1 and 2 are the hardest for the quarterly tax payments, and then after you got that call from me about that big bill, you're gonna change because you don't want that call again.
Right, right,
I want you to start thinking about retirement funding.
right.
Who's saving your money for you for your future? What
Abs
happens if you get sick and you can't work for 2 weeks? Do you have that money set aside? And I don't want to scare anyone with those type of conversations, but I think we need to be realistic with that.
Yeah.
Is once you have your successful client base, you've been saving your money, where are you going to have that cash on the side for those rainy days and that retirement account funding to at least begin?
Right. So that's what I always try to tell stylists that your business account, you don't wanna just drain it every time you get
Mhm.
money. Like, you wanna take out that 20%, but then also, like, a pretty nice emergency fund where if you were to be sick for a week or you want a vacation, you have enough money in that account to pay your expenses and even pay yourself for that week if you
Mhm.
need time off. And that's
Absolutely.
not an immediate thing, but after about 6 months and you built your business and you're making enough money, I always recommend like paying yourself you would as an employee. You get your paycheck and you leave whatever's left in the account. And like you said with taxes, if there's a whole bunch that builds up more than you need, great bonus time.
Yep.
There's you can always take it out, but it's
And I
just
like the practice of even opening multiple bank accounts. So we're going to have a tax account, you're going to have your operating account. And what if you have your rainy day bank account? Because I think that visual is
fun.
really helpful and even name it, those names,
And don't
or like, don't touch it. Yeah, that I cannot touch that money. That's my rule.
I love that.
Mhm.
Oh, that's super helpful. And that's something I talk about a lot, but I don't always lay out how to do
Mhm.
it or how much or when. So I'm
Well,
glad.
everyone's different, right? Because some people are going to be mothers, some people are going to be married, who's working in the it's always a challenge.
Sure.
Mhm.
Start small and build up into that.
Yeah, and one of the things about retirement is, at bec+co, we're about to start having the option to take all of the commission checks, which is money you
Oh,
make off product sales, and have it go
nice.
into a Roth IRA.
Ah,
So instead of
Wow.
receiving that
love
money,
it.
uh, not like a huge chunk, but I mean, if you're 21 and you're putting $250, $300 a month into a Roth IRA starting at
Awesome.
21, that is a huge amount of money by retirement.
Mhm.
I don't think people realize just how much that money
Yeah.
can grow. So,
Yeah, the power that holds. I love that plan back's great,
I
great
think
program.
yeah, I think it's just instead of seeing that money, it can just go away and you don't even I mean, instead of getting the $80 deposit, $100 deposit and being like,
Are we frozen?
Yes.
Okay. Or Bex is frozen, I should say.
She is. I saw you smile, so
And then
I don't want to be frozen in a double chin or anything.
and
She'll
she
come
looks
back.
hard when you're frozen.
I know, perfect.
I I wonder if she knows she's frozen.
We message her. See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
it's okay. She'll come back on.
Okay, this is awesome. She's so like natural. It's so easy.
Yeah. She's like someone I feel like that makes everything like seem easy, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice intro, by the way.
I have a bio up.
Oh, you're doing like, wow, she really aced it. I didn't even think about thinking about how it's gonna
I thought the opposite. I thought how yours was really good and I need to make mine better.
we have all learn from each other.
Exactly. And that's why I love doing this. We get to practice because this is really handy, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, shoot, where is she? Where'd she go?
If she texted.
Yeah, it's interesting this profit first method that I've kind of like touched on a little bit. It's really well received. People seem to really like that visual reminder of that money. I think I'm going to push that a little bit more in my conversations.
Yeah, I think so too. When Bex was like the first client that came to me about it, and she was really excited about it. And then I've had one other client, like she was really excited too. Like, yeah, people really get good feelings on it. She said
Yeah.
the power went out. It's
Oh, her power went out just. Oh, no. Okay. That's awful. You're on a roll.
yeah, the time's flying by. Have you done anything like this before?
This is like my third or fourth, but everyone's different. And I like this like really focused one in that niche because otherwise we're like shooting blanks and seeing what lands audience. I think this is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
add her on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we
So
got kind of a 7, 8, 9 kind of thing.
hmm?
I think we're like, we just kind of touched on
Oh, like the number of
or
questions.
yeah.
Mm, yeah. We didn't talk about the S corp. I don't know if we should come back to it or just leave it be.
Yeah. Let's see what Bex does. I think it is a really important conversation to have. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of people discuss it kind of offline. So maybe it would be handy. Keep shake my whole desk.
Oh, you mentioned me next year too.
Love it. I know. Think I need to get a Go Hard and Instagram account, but I'm so bad at social media, I can't imagine, like, maybe it would be better because it's not me, or it's, like,
Yeah.
slightly removed.
Mhm. There are like social media management companies, especially
Mhm.
just for like accountants and bookkeepers that I know I can use and they just like make easy content for you. I just haven't. I'm not
It's
like a poster, even like in my personal, I'm not like I don't really
like,
share
when's
like
the last
content.
time you posted on Instagram? Like, years, right?
Oh, like on my business one, it might have been yeah, it was earlier this year. It was earlier this
Yeah,
year.
that's pretty good, we'll take it. Oh, look, I only follow your business one, that's funny. Okay, added you personally. So did you make all this content on here?
Yeah,
Wow.
really.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean Canva. That's not yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, I really don't have very much content.
But it makes you look legit. It looks like you're in business, you're working hard, like, it's all themed.
Yeah, you can just put like your brand colors in Canva and they'll make stuff and you can like buy templates from social media people. I hope Beck isn't freaking out too much.
I know. Okay, what are some other great things that we can hit on?
um, I feel like we've actually pretty much touched most of it.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't talk about the tax deductions yet. But we kind of again expensive. Um, yeah, I think pretty much that's what everything else. Like the rest was like reviewing your financials, like what sort of things to look at, and um, I think just like general strategies and tips to succeed as a small business.
My dog is, like, banging at the door to come in. It's like,
Like let me, and then he's
"Head
headbutting
butting you."
me. Put him on your lap.
Is it a bait down? Better be
Yeah,
a huge dog.
thank you.
I'm gonna get him really fast, but we're
Yeah.
What? Come here, mouse. My business partner put her in his office to put him in her office.
She said she needs maybe just like 2 minutes.
No problem. I saw you, like, blink. So I was like, "Am I frozen? Is it my
And
internet?"
that's what it's like. Okay, Haley says it's moving. I was like, but can she hear back? I'm really interested to hear like what the other experts have to say and for the program that she's putting together. Like I know that there's like a photographer and like someone in like media advertising and I think there's like a financial planner. I think too that's gonna be on. I don't even know everyone, but I'm like so interested to hear like what everyone else has to like share and talk about.
I know, that sounds super I wanna know what the financial planner has to say because I
Yeah.
always feel at odd with the financial advisors when I'm in these conversations. I'm like, "Hmm, that's interesting," you know?
Hmm. Yeah. have a
They're always pushing insurance, and I don't push insurance as much. Maybe I should.
or like life insurance, like whole
Like,
life.
just insurance. Everyone wants more. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes the premiums are so expensive. Does it outweigh what you get? I don't know.
Yeah, we've got I feel like whole life insurance policies is like the one financial planning area that I'm like, I'm good.
Why?
Got lots invested. I've fulfilled that end of my or that piece of my financial planning.
Good.
But I definitely need to focus more on like other options. I feel like real estate is like the next thing that I'd really like to focus on, like to get some like investment going.
Fabulous. Yeah. It's all fun and games until I don't know if you know this, but there was a big hailstorm and all of
Mhm.
the windows in my office got completely knocked out.
I saw
Isn't that awful?
it just looks so bad.
And I own this building, so it's like, who am I calling? No one. It's me. What do I do? Like, I'm picking up glass in the middle of the workday. It's awful.
Oh, yeah, that's hard. Um, yeah. We we got to see like the cool lightning storms, but we didn't I don't even think it rained here very much. Like it just kind of like sprinkled.
It seemed.
Right.
Where are you located? Where's your house?
I'm in Southwest, like right
Okay,
near like Oak, right before like Oak Hill start.
totally.
Where we are. And I don't know, we're in this like little bubble. We never seem to get hit with anything too
That's
hard.
awesome.
Even though
And
like
you
we
guys
want
own
it
your
to.
house, right?
What's that? Yeah,
No.
we own it. I mean, we kind of want some things to get destroyed so we can get some like insurance money.
I'm like, wreck my roof. What?
Yeah. Well, we've got so many friends in the roofing business.
Hi. Why would my power and my internet go
What
out
that?
in the middle of this? Like I've
It was
never
like after effects from the hailstorm.
stupid. And then internet wasn't working. I guess we're on now, but my
That is
gosh,
stressful.
That's
this
good.
is why we edit these things. So we're gonna pretend like
Yeah.
that happened. Okay. We're almost at the end too.
Oh,
So all right. Um, next question. How often should stylists review financial reports? Um, and records and key metrics, and what should they really be paying attention to?
yeah. I would say either monthly. Monthly is best if you're like keeping up on stuff, but at least quarterly.
Okay.
And because it's nice to see like, especially like in the beauty industry, like everything can vary so much like month to month. So I like to show my clients, how did you trend like this month versus last month? And how did you do this month of this year versus last year? Like
Oh,
it's the next thing it's like, oh, well, what did you do different that made everything like you made so much money this month? Like, what did you do? Or, you had a rough month, like, maybe why? Let's like think about it. Um, so that's something to look at. I think, if you want to get really technical, you could look at like how much am I paying in back or in
mhm.
comparison to my revenue and, you know, is it like under like 5 or 6%? I think it's like a
Sure.
good percentage to stay under and like rent, like what is that proportion to income?
Yeah.
And like, if you like when you do this program, I'd be looking to say, oh, how's my revenue increasing now that I've completed this beauty
I love that.
right? And like or like a big advertising spend, like I wanna know like over the benefits, like how did
Did it
that
work?
work out for my business?
Yeah. I love that. I think you and I at one point had talked about like just tracking your months and seeing if there's patterns like, oh my
Mhm,
God, I'm always super slow in July and January every year. That's when I'm
mhm.
gonna take my vacations because I know
Yeah,
it's a slower month. And Decembers are wild and I make double. So I'm not gonna take time off. I'm gonna wait till
mhm.
January. So it kind of
Yeah,
can really help you with that next level of, I'm making 150, but I wanna make 200. And those little
yeah,
details make a big difference.
definitely.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
All right. And then lastly, just are there specific strategies or tips you recommend or anything else that we haven't touched on? Anything like a final thought that could really help somebody who's getting started? This could even just be a place to recap, kind of like I'm a new business owner, I'm a booth runner, I'm about to rent a space. What do I need to do?
Yeah. I think I don't think I know, my biggest piece of advice is to not go it alone. When you're your own business, there's so many things to like think about and you wonder and you question. And it can feel like you need to figure it all out yourself, and you definitely can. But there's no need to do it on your own. I
Right.
think everyone's better off when you, like, go to someone who's done what you've done and ask them how, ask for their tips, or, like, go to an expert in their field and say, "Please help me.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do." And frequently, like, you're really I don't think we're meant to do everything on our own. I
No.
think we do better when we share, like, we outsource the things that we're not great at or we don't enjoy and focus on, like, right, what makes us happy and brings us joy and money in our business.
Right. I love that. Haley, do you have anything?
I think in that same kind of area is when you start your business, I think it becomes who you are. It's part of your identity. And I think could be value add to realize that there is kind of a separate entity to you that you are your business, but your business is standalone as well. So make it work for you. If you don't like working on Saturdays, don't, because I think maybe not in this industry, maybe that's not as strategic.
No, I don't think so. It can be.
Yeah. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. We don't need to get burnt out. Outsource where you can. And let's say for accounting and bookkeeping, you can make the money that it costs to pay someone in an hour. So outsource that, make that money, and we're all ahead. And I
Mhm.
also say what I love about my really successful entrepreneurs is they know what they need to outsource, but they're also always learning and also
Sure.
always
Yeah.
better. So you need to trust your advisors, but you also need to check them and be learning constantly.
Right. Well, and just to add on that, I know, Stephanie, and like having the right accountant and bookkeeper can save you a ton of money here, like
Mhm.
thousands of dollars. So
Really can.
an investment, that's money that you just lose if you don't know how to do it properly. So I think investing in the right team is huge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I know, Stephanie, you're not taking new clients for a while. She's very busy and very good. You guys, you guys just want to give a place where people might follow you to see what you're up to, like Instagram or any contact information. I don't know if you're taking new clients, but if you are, where they can find you and kind of let people know how, if they have a burning question, where they could reach you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely reach out with any questions. And if you're looking for a bookkeeper, I'd love to still talk to you, even though I don't have space for anyone at the moment. I will at the beginning, towards the beginning of 24.
Perfect.
But I'm on Instagram at She Does Your Book. You can email me at she@shedoesyourbook.com. And happy to help, happy to answer any questions because I've been where you've been. And I love to like help people get through like the tough spots.
Nice.
Absolutely. We're taking on new clients. I think we're going to get a little bit more picky on who we onboard, but we're always looking for the right teammate to join our team. You can email me at team@goharden.com or check out our website at www.goharden.com.
Nice. And I'll make sure and put all of that down in our notes so that everybody can find you guys. I really appreciate you guys. This is huge to just have all of this information. And I think it's going to really benefit somebody who's scared to start their business. And that's the biggest thing is I don't know how to do the bookkeeping and the accounting. So hopefully this will kind of get rid of some of the fear around it. And also that you have help. There are people who get
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
awesome. Well, great to talk to you guys. I'll link all of your information in the notes from this. And I'm sure you'll hear from some of our stylists.
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.